A flooded home or business is never easy to deal with. The memories that are lost that you cannot replace. An aquadam can be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home or business from the hurricane storm surge or the king tides. Look us up online at aquadam.net or give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119. We can help.
Consider advertising on the Opperman Report. We have excellent advertising rates for you. The advertising rates are very affordable. Once your ad goes up and we play the show on the podcast and on the YouTube channel, those ads stay up there forever. And then we play repeats every single night of classic Opperman Report shows. And your new ads will be inserted into those repeats that play every single night. So the saturation is incredible, and the rates are very affordable. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com, or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Contact KMD Law. Emailrevealer.com. Go to emailrevealer.com. We handle adoption investigations, infidelity investigations, email tracing, locate or identify somebody from as little as an anonymous email address. Someone owe you money? Back child support? We can find that deadbeat and even assist you in obtaining a judgment and recover that judgment for you. Emailrevealer.com. Digital forensics, computer forensics, cell phone forensics, recover deleted text messages. Create a report that you can use in court. Emailrevealer.com, 800-572-9762. Hey guys, if you like the show and you want to show your support, check out the Opperman Report Patreon. We have all the shows that you hear Monday through Friday on AM/FM radio, but we cut out the ads, so you can hear that content ad-free. The Opperman Report Patreon, you should stop there once a day and check out what's going on over there. That's Opperman Report Patreon.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay. Welcome to the Opperman Report. I am your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all, and to all a good night. Okay, the show's over. Goodbye. Leave me alone. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, you can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. Just email me at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, check out our Patreon. A lot of good, you know what? I can't even say that. I usually say a lot of good new stuff up in Patreon, but I've been really sick, and it has been Christmas week. So there is some new content and some good old content up there. Professor Charles Derber, Dying for Capitalism. That was a really good conversation. How big money fuels extinction and what we can do about it. Very, very nice man, Charles Derber. And by the way, too, he's friends with Noam Chomsky. He says he can hook me up and get me an interview with Noam Chomsky. I just got to contact him and, among the 10 million things I got to get done on my list. Sitting here, it's 7:50 trying to do the show, and I'm getting a call from a federal jail, federal detention center. A former client of mine got into a little shootout with the cops. And now it's like, oh, and come get me out of here. Come save me. Okay, I'll get right on it. Oh my God. That was a long situation. I think I might have mentioned it on here first. First, she got in trouble with some methamphetamine charges, manufacturing, cooking meth. And then I guess when they finally got around to issuing a warrant for her arrest on that, they went to find her at this location. And there were bullets coming from the inside of the house to the outside of the house. But thankfully, she was not being charged with the any of those firearms charges are tempted. Who knows what charges? Just the meth charges, which is bad enough, man. I hate to see people get mixed up in that kind of stuff. Christine Kramer, Medicare for All. Jennifer Saganor, Playground. A child's lost inside the Playboy Mansion. I've replayed the show several times, but now this you get it for at the ad-free, commercial-free over there at Patreon. You can catch it there. Very interesting show. My relationship with this guest off the air. There was some potential litigation, some different people we were talking to about the litigation. And we got into a lot of stuff about Anna Nicole Smith, and I was supposed to interview a friend of Anna Nicole Smith who's very suspicious about her death. We got into the whole thing about the alleged tunnels under the mansion and stuff like that. Let me tell you, we went in depth into all that, way further than just on the interview on the show there. Because, anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But anyway, that's a good interview. Check that out. And I learned a lot in that interview and meeting those people. H.B. Albarelli Jr., coup in Dallas, the decisive investigation into who killed JFK. Plus, we have that other interview coming up with, how do I fix that? I know what to do. I'll go there and turn off those notifications. Go there real quick. As quick as a bunny, I'll go. Here we go. Where it says notification, push notifications, and you turn those off, and then no one can hear. Be quiet as a mouse. They'll just hear my inmate friend calling me up, trying to get all the way. Let's see here. Back to the notes. We go here and get to our notes. There. Yes, there. Oh, no, we were looking on Patreon over here. Everett Stern did another third interview with Everett Stern. He's an interesting guy. He's kind of a whistleblower kind of character. He's being sued again by General Flynn. He says this time he's not backing down. He's going to fight back to the end, to the last bullet. So he's fighting back against General Flynn. And he was tipping off information to that FBI agent, McGonigal, who was getting paid off by Oleg Deripaska, the Russian oligarch. So people need to understand what's going on here. The FBI agent in charge of the New York City field office investigating Trump for Russian collusion was being paid off, bribed by the Russian oligarch that is alleged that Trump was colluding with, and then he declares that Trump was not colluding with him. Now, somehow, the extreme right Fox News guys say, well, the only person who got convicted of colluding with the Russians was the man who was investigating Trump for colluding with the Russians. And they put out this meme, and idiots read this stuff like it's real. Just beyond me. I don't know how to deal with this kind of stuff anymore. I'm getting so frustrated. It's like shoveling against the ocean. And just this idiotic memes. I get upset when I do the show on Friday night. I'm trying not to do that tonight. Okay, trying not to do that tonight. So Everett Stern's back, and we talk about that because this McGonigal character was his FBI point of contact. And we get into some other stuff, too. He's a good guy. Sam Spadino, Trump and Epstein, some Opperman Live shows like I'm doing right now with the Ed Scott story of Reality Winner, interview with her mom. Melvin Dumar and Howard Hughes Will. I really enjoyed that interview with Melvin Dumar. By the way, it's not on here. I did an interview with, here it is. Oh, yeah, it's not on here. Maybe I didn't send it to good old Ed Parnell. But I did an interview with this woman, Leslie Sharp, about the new Albarelli book about the coup, the JFK coup. A lot of times I'll tape an interview and I'll forget it to send it over to Ed so that it gets processed correctly, with the different commercials for the different markets to be put into and stuff like that. And then it just sits there lost, There's probably a good 10 or 15 interviews I've done that are just lost, And then because my memory is just not there anymore like it was at one time. So that's our Patreon. And then don't forget our Spreaker. Every Friday night I do a live show on Spreaker. If you're listening to this on YouTube, delete YouTube and go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. Look up Opperman Report. That's where the really good shows are. YouTube edits and deletes about half of my shows that I put up each week. Also, too, they demonetize me. I get paid nothing for YouTube. I get no benefit from YouTube other than complaints from the listeners. Also, too, they've demonetized me. They're going to shut down that channel sooner or later. So get on board with Spreaker. There's a chat room with lovely chatters in there right now as we speak. And you can go here. There's you get an email notification whenever I put up new content. I put up new content every day. It's way better than YouTube. And there's a link on every show at the top. It says this YouTube show came from Spreaker. So if you don't like the audio, you got a problem, whatever's going on there on YouTube, just click on that link. You go direct to the source. You hear it right from there, from the horse's mouth. That's me, Mr. Ed. It's I tell you, it was tough growing up, man, with a name like Ed. When Mr. Ed was on TV, the talking horse. A horse is a horse, of course. They said that when you played that backwards, it would say that the source is Satan. If you played the Mr. Ed song, the horse is a horse, of course, and we're going to put a talking horse. And it is a source. And we didn't even talk about the source forward. The talking Mr. Ed. But if you listen to it backwards, if you played it backwards, it would say, the source is Satan, the source is Satan. I don't know if it's, I'm just telling you what I know. Just telling you and report to you the facts as I know them. That's all I could do for you. Some good stuff coming up. I have a historic interview with a fellow. You'll know the topic. You'll know the subject right away the second you hear about it. It's something everyone knows about in this area that I've concentrated my work on the past 10 years. Everyone will know right away what the topic is. And everyone will know right away that people have died reporting on this topic. But this will be the first time the actual person directly involved in this, at the root of the whole situation, will be interviewed on the radio. The very first time, probably the last. And I was able to get this interview because people who know me and respect my work out there in the real world that are actually really involved in these type of things put the interview together for me. Okay, this wasn't something I searched out. It was brought to me. And I thank the people involved, too. I know they're not listening because they're too busy and important, but I thank them for giving me this opportunity. There's not too many places you can go with this kind of information that's to a respectable, legitimate source, a guy that uses his real name, his real reputation, his real life, is, a real person. It's not some made-up Twitter handle, some nonsense out there. So keep an eye out for that. I have another fellow I'm interviewing who's all mixed up or has a historical involvement with Larry Flint and the shootout at the Flint mansion between the Metzer guys and the Bill Menser guy, the guy they call the second Manson. I got him coming on too. I don't want to mention him directly either because of all the situations we have going on around. I got some old yippie friends I'm going to be bringing on the show too. I'm trying to get on the show. I guess that's it about the upcoming stuff. Yeah, a guy directly around John Lennon too, who's had some problems with Yoko and stuff like that. It seems like he's brave enough to come out of the woodwork now too and come on the show. So a lot of good stuff out there in the horizon for you. Some historical stuff, that's really a big deal coming up, and it'll be on the Wikipedia page for that topic. Because it'll be the only interview. So we could definitely get it up there on that. The way things are looking, we'll get into that later. Because we're going to be talking about my health situation too. Okay. I want to preface that before we get to that topic. Okay. Is that I am going to be talking about some personal health issues that I've had. I've come on the show the past month or two, and I told you almost every week I've had either a bad headache or a fever. And I've been talking about on the Facebook and stuff like that about the past month. I've been throwing up every day. So I know when anybody in the public eye goes and makes a public statement about their health or their well-being or their medical situation, this triggers a lot of people. So I'm begging you in advance, please. I know you're being triggered right now as I say this, and you want to send me home remedies and cures and stuff you've seen on YouTube and Twitter and TikTok on how to cure me and heal me. And I thank you for that, but please do not contact me with any of that stuff. Okay? And if you're not keeping up with what I'm talking about, don't ask me about my health. I'm telling you, over and over what's going on. So just wait. Okay? Don't contact me about it, please. I'm begging you. Don't contact me with any medical advice. If you're triggered about vaccines or non-vaccines or whatever you're being triggered about, leave it to yourself. Don't bring it to me, please. Okay? Because things are bad enough, man. I got to deal with enough stuff here. I got, people with shootouts calling me up. Right? I don't know how many other podcasters out there or YouTubers out there or Twitterers out there. I have people calling them up from the holding cell. Okay. Who just got into a shootout with the cops. Not many. I can guarantee you not many. I don't know how many got clients about to testify against Trump in March again in the Stormy Daniels case. I don't know how many out there besides me. Not many. Okay, I think but on that one I can say maybe one. Although Michael Cohen comes close, but Anyway. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you're watching this thing. My beautiful daughter Victoria, she's out in California right now. At Sunset Beach, which is by, I forget, with the Huntington Beach. Sunset Beach is this beautiful little area in California. It's a little tiny beach. It's not very crowded. It's this little town. And we used to go there when she was little, and we'd go to Disneyland. And we'd always say, oh, boy, one day, we'll rent one of these little houses here on the beach for a week. You could, and I would explain to her, you could rent one of these places here. She goes, oh, Dad, that would be so great. We could live on the beach for a week, Can we afford that? Well, we can't afford it now, but someday we will, And wouldn't you know it, she got together with her friends, and they went on a little trip to California. They just got there today. They're going to be there for a few days. And they rented this Airbnb, and wouldn't you know it, it's right there on the beach where we used to go when she was a little kid. So just, thank God for that. And she was even crying, so I feel like crying just talking about it. God bless her, and all on her own, man. Her own success, her own money, her own, these relationships she has with these friends of hers. They're all brilliant people, man. They're all like PhDs and stuff, man. These people she hangs out with, Now I'm just a big dummy. You only come to your dad now with advice on how to change a tire when your battery's dead. We've reached that point in life. Oh my God, 17 minutes in. What the hell is going on here? And I talk fast too. So anyway, it's Christmas week, and it reminds me of this time between Christmas and New Year's. My whole life has always been just this wild time for me. And with Vic, we've been to Disneyland on Christmas Eve. We've been there Christmas Day. We've been on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Not every time on all those days, but just over the years. And trips to California. It's always been a special time for us. And I can remember back in the 80s, Lynn Samuels on WBAI radio station, when she had her show on Friday nights. She would do this thing where you could take 9 phone callers all on the phone at once. And so she would bring 9 callers on, and we would sing Christmas carols all together. And I've always wanted to do that. And I could do it with Skype, but just I got so many technical audio problems here that it's just not set up for me to take phone calls right now, which I got to get that fixed, man, before I go. I got to take some phone calls before I go. But that was just such a wonderful time for me, my old Christmas memory for me. I remember one time we were singing, and I started barking. We were singing about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I was barking along instead of singing. And they would say, "What's this? Reindeer don't bark. What's going on here?" It's that Ed. It's Eddie from Staten Island. Oh, boy. And I also remember, too, another memory growing up, Staten Island, is Christmas time, the Staten Island Ferry Terminal. When you were coming from Manhattan to go to Staten Island at the end of the night, all these Wall Street guys who lived on Staten Island, high school graduates, very few of them had a good education or anything, but they would get these great jobs on Wall Street because they just needed bodies to fill up these rooms up there, these businesses. And there was a bar that was in the ferry terminal on the Manhattan side. And these guys would get, the old expression is, bleep-faced, They would get blitzed, these guys, trying to, and they would be like 4 hours late getting home, And then on the ferry, you could buy drinks on the ferry too. You could buy beer on the ferry. And then the lower level of the ferry is where all the pot smokers were. You could smoke pot down there. And when I was going back and forth, I'd always be selling pot on there too as well. That's my New York Christmas week memories. One of my most difficult memories, and I've talked about this before on the years, I had to fire somebody once. I think it was Christmas Eve. I hate to admit it, but when I had the beeper company in the Staten Island Mall, I had this woman who worked for us, and she was okay. She was an okay employee, better than the people that just came and went, She was around a while. And her husband, or her live-in boyfriend, baby father, I don't know what the deal was. He was a New York City bus driver. And I've talked about this on the air before, too, that bus drivers have groupies. There's girls who ride around on the bus and they fall in love with the bus driver, okay? And they have groupies. And who get these crushes on them and then start riding the bus at times when they don't have to ride the bus, and then flirt with the bus driver and pass their phone number to them. So all kind of weird stuff goes on with these bus drivers. And there was a problem with the schedule where we put this woman on the schedule and she couldn't cover the time or what. She was arguing with my managers. And, we told her, listen, this is it, man. You got to work these hours. This is what we're giving you. You'd have to fill the booth at these times. And her husband came down to the booth and started fighting with her manager. And they called me down there. I had to go down there. And so I just, it was chaotic. And you have no idea, how much important it is to make money when you're in retail. This October, November, December. Okay, Christmas season. The rent in the mall goes up. There's this seasonal rents that you got to pay, which was like $30,000-$40,000. Okay, that was back in the 80s, the 90s. It was back in the 90s. It was 30. I was paying that. It's $7,000 a month normally, and then for those 4 months, you'd have to give them $40,000. So it was crazy. The rents back in those days. It was for a little tiny space. So I have the pictures up on my Facebook page. It was a tiny little kiosk. You could fit 3 or 4 people in there working, and you had to have a couple outside during the Christmas months. You'd have a lot of people working there. And so we just had this situation where we just had to shut it down. I couldn't have this guy here, fighting with the manager in front of all the customers who were losing business. A lot of money. It's thousands a day. So I had to toss him out of there. And then I said, look, man, can we get along without her if we fire her right now? And they says, yeah, get rid of her right now. We got to move on. We got to make money. And I had to fire somebody. I think it was Christmas Eve. And I had to fire somebody. But it had to be done, man. You got to, what are you going to do? I got to pay the rent. I got to pay the employees, right? And it's that money you need to live on for the whole year. Like right now, it's the same thing with radio advertising. This is where the money is made. November, December, October, October, November, December. These are the months. Okay, this is when all the money's coming in. Right now, today, I'm going to make some good money today, okay? That's why I need everybody to retweet and share these shows on Spreaker as much as you can, because this is when I make the money that I live on for the rest of the year. And it was so important. If I could have got some people to help me make these TikToks this month, and got some people to come in here and help me out with, with all this stuff I need help with, there's just so much opportunity here. But so a ton of money slipped through my hands this year. That I'm going to need to live on the rest of this year. So come February, March, I'm going to be in big trouble if I make it that long, because I'm going to be telling you about my whole situation later on. Anyway, another Christmas memory I have, and this is a happy memory. Not all of my memories are miserable memories, okay? It just seems that way because I dwell on misery, and I dwell on unhappy memories. But there was this one year, it was Christmas week, and our credit card machine broke down. The credit card machine stopped working. This was like in 91, 92. So it wasn't like you could just, go, call a salesperson, a sales rep, and they would run over with a new credit card machine, or you could get one online, Amazon delivered the next morning. The credit card company, machine company that we worked with was in Florida at the time. We were in Staten Island, New York. And I was on the phone with them all day. We need this machine. We need this machine tomorrow. When we wake up tomorrow, we have to have this machine. I don't care how much it costs. Where can I buy one used and get it programmed? What can we do? Oh, no, we have to program it here. And I was talking to this young lady on the phone the whole time who was being so damn helpful with me. You have no idea. So finally I said to her, I says, well, listen, here's what you can do. We can buy a plane ticket, okay? And you put this thing in a suitcase. And you bring it down there. You check in the suitcase when you're at the drive up outside. You check it in, and then you don't have to use the plane ticket to get on the plane. They'll send because of that ticket. You might have to. I think you might have had to go and got the ticket at the gate, and you didn't have to go up to the entryway though. You had to go. You had to get the ticket, and you could put the luggage at the curbside. And then it would come off the carousel on the other end if there was no one flying next to that bag, okay? You could do that back then. This was before September 11th. You can't do that now. Every piece of luggage has to match a human being on the plane. Otherwise, they go search for that luggage or they search for the person. They take it off. Because, you know what, the possibilities of, terrorism. But you could do this back then. And I knew this because of my experience in marijuana smuggling, okay? Because one of the things we would do is we would put the pot in a suitcase, right? You'd put the pot in a suitcase, you'd buy a ticket for it, and you'd put it on the curbside, check it in. And it would be like a little mark on it, right? Then you would have a guy flying on the plane with an identical suitcase with all clothes in there that match him, that fit him, and all kind of stuff like that. And the other bag, you would have the one with the pot in it. You would have somebody else's, like women's clothing in there, and all kind of clothing that didn't match this guy. When the guy gets off the plane in New Jersey, Newark Airport, he sees the two suitcases, right? He takes the one with the mark on it that has the pot in it with the women's clothing, and he walks out the door. Now, if they stop him, if they hit it with the dogs and they know there's pot in that bag, he goes, what are you talking about? Oh, look, I got the wrong bag. That's my bag over there. And then they open up the two bags. They see, oh, he's right. It has his ticket. It matches his name. Look at it. You're right. It's the wrong bag. Open up the other bag with the pot. Oh, look, there's women's clothing. It's not his. Okay. And the guy, you can beat that in court. Okay. Let's put it that way. Okay. They may know what you're up to, what you're doing, but that's the kind of case you could beat in court. And also, too, if the guy has, a letter of a job interview in Staten Island, all kind of stuff, we would make an effort what we were doing here. It was an amateur hour. So I tell this girl, I said, listen, I want to pay for a plane ticket. I need you to go down to the airport. I'll pay. I'll do this for you. And she goes, oh, no, I'll bring it to the airport. I pay for the ticket. She brings the credit card machine. She checks it in. It goes on the carousel, right? When I go to pick it up at the airport, she comes running over. She sees me pick up the suitcase. She comes running over to me. She goes, I came to New York for Christmas. I said, what? She goes, yeah, I want to see the Rockefeller Christmas tree. And she thought that she could get off the airport in Newark Airport and walk to Manhattan and see the Christmas tree. Okay. And she wasn't that young either. She was 25 years old, but she was from Florida. It was a long time ago. They didn't have the internet back in those days. So me, the wonderful guy that I am, okay, I took her, I put her in my car. All right. We went to the mall. We set up the credit card machine for the next morning, and I took her to Rockefeller Center to see the Christmas tree. And then when we were there was something. It was like a TGI Fridays or Long John Silver's restaurant that was over there, right? And she saw that. She goes, oh, let's go there. And I said, no, I'm going to take you someplace nice to eat. I'll take you to a nice New York restaurant. I'll take you there. And then I'm taking you straight back to the airport. You're leaving tomorrow. But that was that was a really fun, it was a really cool date too, man. It was a fun time, man. And, nice, I don't know, man. Like someone you never see him again. It's kind of a cool thing. Never heard from her again over the years. Never, not even once. Okay. Let's see, how the time is doing. Oh, we're doing good. Okay, good. All right, good. So those are my Christmas stories, what I remember. Besides, first Christmas I've ever had in 23 years where I didn't spend with my daughter Victoria, where we were in different states and different having different celebrations. And also, too, another, I remember, I think I might have told you this a couple of weeks ago. I started telling you about when I was voted the top 100 men of Las Vegas by Las Vegas Magazine. Then I started getting invited to all these parties and stuff like that. And I was invited to a Christmas mansion party in Vegas. And somehow I became friends with the servers, because I was vegan and they were vegan. So they went hunting me down to bring me vegan hors d'oeuvres. And I just found out this year that one of those girls died. She died somehow. And I'm not 100% sure of what the details were. You know, when we hung out a couple of times, I think we were supposed to hang out one time. We never could find each other. I think it was at the Fremont Street Art Museum down there. And tickets to an event or something. And never really saw them again. But, someone you hung out with, you had fun with, you find out they died years later. It's kind of heartbreaking. Speaking of death. Okay, speaking of death. I stumbled on this story. And it turns out this thing goes way back to 2014. In Phoenix, there was this company called the Biological Resource Center Incorporated, right? And what they would do is they advertised themselves. It was run by this guy named Gore. His last name was Gore. And his name was Stephen Gore, and his wife's name is Sally Gore, Gore. And they would take donations of cadavers of recently deceased human beings. And one of the things they would do is they'd say, well, listen, we'll take your body for you and we'll cremate it for you for free if we can donate some of the parts to science. So it turns out, and by the way, too, I looked up the business license for this place, and they were licensed for-profit medical research with no qualifications. You can do that in Phoenix. You can open up a business and call it medical research and go into this body receptacle donation business with no licensing, no qualifications, no nothing. You just apply for the license and they give it to you. Anybody can. Well, back then, I don't know if they've changed it because there was a huge lawsuit with the FBI involved. Because the FBI agents who went in there finally and raided this joint, after they started hearing the crazy stuff that was going on in there, coolers full of human penises, that they had one corpse with the head of another corpse sewed to the body of another corpse. Now, I told you this story not too long ago about the Harvard morgue and how they were selling these body parts, and some of those body parts were winding up in occult bookstores. And many of these skulls and stuff like that wound up in this guy's house. And when the cops showed up to this guy's house, they said to him, is anybody else here in the house? And he says, only my friends. And he showed him all these skulls and body parts and that he had on his bed. He would sleep with these skulls. So now this place here, right, it's very mysterious. But I've been looking into this. I've been finding out some things. I'm talking to some people who used to work there. A lot of rumors of what's going on. One thing is, when you look at the old news stories and the old information about this, it talks about how they were selling some of these bodies overseas and no one knows to who, to unknown locations and people. But some of the stuff was being sold to just people off the street were buying this stuff. By the way, too, the original place, Biological Resource Center, if you Google it, it's still that there's a working phone number and it's a working location. They're no longer licensed. I don't know. They seem to be working under another business. And it's open 24 hours. It's another thing, too. How weird is that? Well, you need 24 hours body brokering. There's a whole business in this body brokering. It turns out that one of the people they're selling these bodies to is the U.S. military. The U.S. military is buying these bodies so that they can shoot at them and do all kind of military testing on these bodies and these cadavers. But like I said before, they had coolers They're lying around unlabeled, unmarked, no dates, with penises in them, with like 100 penises. So just bizarre, incredible stuff here with this Biological Resource Center. And like I said, and when you read the reviews on also too on on Google, when you look this place up, there's the people who dealt with them and worked with them, they all say this is a crazy shady stuff, and it seems like the only thing keeping them in operations is their contracts with the U.S. military, which makes sense, man, you know. But somehow they got raided by the FBI and supposedly shut down, but they just opened up with the same phone number and they're another business. So I have some interviews lined up on that I'll be getting back to you with. And hopefully we'll get you some good information on that. Let's see how we're doing on time here. We'll take a peek. We're doing good. 35, 45, 55. Got 20 minutes. Good. I'll tell you how I'm dying in a little minute here. Okay. What else is going on? Oh, God. Well, Trump's knocked off the ballot in Maine, which is a pretty serious blow to his campaign. And once again, you know, people who aren't following the Supreme Court hearings don't understand, and they say, well, this is unconstitutional. It can't be more constitutional because what they're following is the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. But if you're not following the trial in Colorado and the Supreme Court hearings in the state of Colorado, if you haven't been following that, sure, it came to you as a shock, and now you're seeing a bunch of memes and a bunch of little sound bites and tweets, and yeah, that's great, but you know, go submit that to the Supreme Court next time it's a Supreme Court hearing, okay? And that's because that's how this stuff is dealt with. It's not dealt with tweets and memes. Like, what's going on, man? Like, what's going on? There's like no interest in reality anymore. You know, I'll say it again, this whole business with this Epstein list. You know, people are still coming to me. People I know, people who know me in real life, who know more about my involvement in all this Epstein stuff than I've ever talked about on the radio. Okay, that I've ever talked about to the general public, that I've ever tweeted about, that I've ever Facebooked about, okay, or Instagrammed about. People that know me in real life come to me and say, well, Ed, what about this list, the client list? You know, for one more time for my audience who doesn't listen either, okay? No one really seems to listen anymore. Okay, first of all, it's not a list, okay? This is not a list. This is 170 names from the Giuffre versus Maxwell defamation lawsuit that were sealed during the lawsuit. The Miami Herald sued to have them unsealed. So now these names, these 170 names, are being unsealed. There's 3 names that are not being unsealed. One is a misidentification of a person. They got the wrong guy from a photo. We don't know why the other two are yet. We don't know. We'll find out. It's not a big, you know, it's not this big mystery that people think this is. You know, the rest of the 170 names are not all clients, okay? In fact, I challenge you to show me any testimony or any evidence of a single client who paid Epstein to have sex with a child. There is nothing out there. There are people who were paid by Epstein to provide children to Epstein. Sarah Gillen is one. Ghislaine Maxwell is another. There's a few others off there. I can't remember their names on top of my head. Okay, that there's evidence of, that there's testimony of. They're still trying to find Sarah Gillen and serve her. She was given a $6 million mansion in Miami. No one can find her. But there's no evidence of these rich and elites who paid Epstein to fly to his island and have sex with children. That doesn't exist, okay? If anything, the money was going the other way. Epstein was providing children to people to have sex with, and he was also paying them money and donations and all kind of stuff like that, and different kind of support. There's evidence of that. There's also evidence of these young victims, these young sex-trafficked young ladies, who then became semi-sex traffickers themselves. It was like Amway. Most of this activity took place 25 miles away from Epstein's mansion in Palm Beach, Florida, at the Royal Palms High School, and at the nearby trailer parks off of Belvedere Avenue. I forget what the name of the trailer park is, but it's not far from the high school, and it's off of Belvedere Avenue in West Palm Beach. And Epstein would drive around that trailer park in his Lamborghini and his Ferrari, whatever that car was, looking for some of his favorite girls. And he would go to, he had girls from West Palm Beach High School as young as freshmen that they would go there. They get paid $300 to go with Epstein, give him a massage, and then he'd try and, molest them. And if they didn't want to go back, he would tell them, well, listen, you don't have to come back, but I'll pay you $200 if you get another girl to go. But you go back to the school and find another girl to come here. I'll pay her $300. I'll pay you $200. So do we want a list of them, 12-year-old girls that were getting paid? Do we want to expose them? I don't think so, okay? And some of them are kind of well-known names in this circle, too. Okay? This is just how this is, man, okay? I don't have a dog in this fight. This is just how this is. This is what happened. So the names that are being unsealed now are names from, it's not a list. It's names from emails, from pictures, from photographs. Some of them are victims. Some of them are just business people who did nothing wrong that are now going to have their names unsealed and are going to be pointed at as pedophiles, okay? So that's just how this is, man. But there's no client list in existence out there that there was some kind of a child prostitution ring going on here, that Epstein had a list of clients that were paying him. There's no evidence of that, okay? And that's just the reality, but I'm fighting against shoveling against the ocean with people, with all these memes talking about lists and the islands and Epstein didn't hang himself. And you wonder why some of these things get so popular. But no one ever talks about the Butterfly Trust, or the Southern Trust, or no one ever talks about Tower Financial, how $400 million disappeared from Tower Financial and wound up in the Southern Trust in the Virgin Islands, okay? And then how Darren Enzyke and Richard Kahn siphoned off $10 million each to the Butterfly Trust, which was under their wives' names. These are executors of the estate who stole $10 million. There's no question about this. It's what happened. No consequences. There's no meme about that. What about Victoria's Secret? Les Wexner. There's no meme about, hey, let's boycott Victoria's Secret. Let's boycott the Limited. Oh, no, nothing. Nobody wants to hear that. We want the list. We want the list. The list. Show us the list. That we want justice for the list. And people don't know anything what's going on with this stuff. And by the way, too, I want you to look around, okay? Look, who else? Any podcasters out there or Twitterers out there, anybody like that out there, these famous people like that? Are any of them coming to you frustrated about the disinformation and the misinformation that's out there floating around? How come the only guy out there who's all upset about this and ranting and raving about this every week is the one guy that was actually involved in this stuff? That's not getting paid anything right now. Okay? Some of the other people that are involved in this are profiting off this still, okay? They're making a good living off of this, man. Okay? And you don't hear them complaining. But, come on, man. Ask yourself why some of these superstars on this topic aren't frustrated about this. Why are they promoting this stuff? Okay. All right. Let's see how we're doing on time. I'll just get into my 43. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time. One of the last things here is main Epstein list. Idaho 4, they demolished the house where the Idaho 4 murders took place before even the trial and the conviction. That's really bizarre and unusual. And usually that's an indication when you see them destroy the crime scene. They did it in Dahmer. They did it in Martin Preschool. They did it in Ariel Castro. They did it with John Wayne Gacy. And it's usually there's a sex trafficking or human trafficking element to the case when they do that. That's been my experience. So that might be something you want to take a good look at when you're researching and looking into this Idaho 4 case. Okay, let's see. I'm going to end the show early anyway because I'm tired and I'm sick. Now, my health issues. Okay, I've been talking to you about this for a couple of weeks now. And pretty much every Friday night, I tell you, oh boy, I've been sick all day. I've been sick all week. Like right now, I got a huge headache and I got a fever right now. Okay. Now, just in general, when I look at pictures of myself 3 years ago before I left Vegas, there's a picture of me out there, man, where I'm hiking and I'm like flexing my bicep, and I'm ripped, man. That wasn't that long ago, man. It was a couple of years ago. It was 3 years ago. I was swimming. I was hiking. I was riding my bike. I was a fit guy. And I would look at other guys, 59 years old, 58 years old, and I'd laugh at them. Look at these obese, bald men, look at me. I'd be in the locker room at the gym. I'd be laughing at these guys. And even, even in my early 50s, I would go to the basketball court and I'd play basketball with these guys in their 20s, man. I'd wipe them out. I'd run them into the ground. And even before that, man, when me and Vic would go to Sunset Park every day after school 15 years ago, not that long ago. But these Marines would go there. These soldiers would go to the park there and work out at the park. And I would do more chin-ups than any of these guys. Man, they would always stand back, let the old man through and do his chin-ups. And I'd be doing chin-ups for 20 minutes. All right? So anyway, those days are gone. I just posted a picture of me from last Christmas. And I look at that picture, I look like crap. People saying, oh, man, you don't look so bad. You look good. You look healthy. Oh, my God. I wish I looked like that right now. Okay? So the way my health has deteriorated since I moved to Florida in the past 3 or 4 years, whatever it's been, if it were to continue at this rate another 3 years, I'm gone in 3 years. Okay? If it were to continue at this rate, I think it's accelerating. Okay, the rate of deterioration is accelerating. My arm is a mess. My arm is withering away. It's going to fall off. Okay, I'm going to have one arm soon. I've got a fever almost every single day. I lost in the past month about 30 pounds. I throw up every day. My last meal at night, I usually throw it up. I get up in the middle of the night and throw up. And my first meal in the morning, I can eat a few bit of bites of food and I throw that up. So, past few days hasn't been that bad. Yesterday was okay. There was like one day this week I didn't throw up. Today I don't think I've thrown up yet. But I still have to eat a meal I haven't eaten yet. So, and that's just a few things wrong with me. Now, I've tried with, I had medical insurance, and I spent like $11,000 over 2 years, and I got no benefit from it whatsoever. No one really examined my arm for real. I never really had an MRI or an X-ray or nothing like that. I spent all that money, nothing. It was just a total waste of time. I can't navigate my way through the medical system the way it is today. It's just I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. I can't do it. If you're an expert on that and you could help me with that, then you could contact me. But not just Google some Ed Collis number. I've done that. I know how to Google just like you know how to Google. Okay, so I've tried all that. I don't qualify for Medicaid and stuff like that anymore. What I had in Nevada, I had some free medical care that I was able to get the hernia done. Don't have that either. I own a house now. They can't qualify for that. So can't do that. My medical coverage that I could get sucked. I couldn't get any help from that. So if you ask me, oh, Ed, what are the doctors and say like that? I tried to see the doctor. I just somebody was working for me recently. We tried to navigate our way through the medical system. We cannot do it. I cannot get to see a doctor. Okay, and maybe you're laughing at me, think it's so damn easy. I just can't. Well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just can't do it. Okay, or maybe the forces I'm up against, or prevent me from doing it, or whatever. I don't know. But it's just been very unsuccessful. So that's my medical situation right now. Okay, just at the rate I've been going, I'm not going to make it 3 years. At the rate I'm going right now and the acceleration, I'm not going to make it 3 months a year. And I'm resigned to it. I'm never going to have the life I used to have. I'm never going to have the kind of health and fitness and well-being and pain-free daily life that I once had. It's just not going to happen again, unless some kind of miracle happens. So That's my medical situation, so please don't ask me about it. I think I've gone to a lot of effort to explain it to you tonight, and let's just leave it at that. Okay, so, and don't try and diagnose me from over there and tell me, oh, it's chemotherapy, it's this. Okay, I don't need that. That just makes everything worse. Okay, all of that stuff just makes it worse. Trust me. Okay, and even too, you may think you're being helpful, but people really aren't paying attention. I've been talking for 3 years. Okay, I tore my bicep. Ed, how's your shoulder? Oh, Ed, how's your shoulder? There's nothing wrong with my shoulder. I've never had a problem with my shoulder. It's my bicep. Okay? So you think you're giving me advice when you're not even paying attention to what I'm telling you. And I hate to complain this way, and I really do, but, I get, I'm trying to get things done, that it's difficult enough. And I got to get these messages all day long. People giving me medical advice and home cures and remedies and trying to sign me up to crazy stuff. I don't have time for that stuff, guys. I don't have time for that stuff. So just, I don't know what to tell you, but just stop bugging me with that stuff, man. I'm telling you what's going on. I have no solution to it. If you're a board certified doctor and you want to say, Ed, I'll treat you for free, I'll talk to you. Other than that, I don't want to hear it. Okay. I want a currently licensed board certified doctor say, hey, Ed, fly out here and I'll take care of you. That I'll do. The rest of the advice and the stuff, please, man, please, I beg you. And if you're being triggered about vaccines or anything like that, you don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about me. Just please, just leave me alone with all that stuff, man. Please. All your people triggered out there, man, over every little thing. Society's doomed anyway. Okay, let's see how we're doing here on time. And I got another 4 minutes to kill. I can still use some TikToks and Reels if you want to help me out with that, man. I got a few days left where we can make some decent money by driving traffic to the podcast. You can tweet the podcast. You can share the podcast on Twitter, on Spreaker. That's the way to share it. Doesn't help me a damn bit to share the YouTube. I'm just talking into the wind. Nobody pays attention. Spreaker.com or Apple Plays. It's another one. But even Spreaker, I get paid more on Spreaker than Apple Plays. So if you listen on Apple Plays, go to Spreaker. So is that a problem? Why not? Is that going to kill you? Oh, God. So, coming up after this will be Jamie Deluxe. Oh, by the way, Jamie Deluxe has some good medical advice. This guy had a thing, an infection on his leg. So he saran wraps a potato to his leg. That's this guy's home cure. Okay. I like Jamie Deluxe. Don't get me wrong. And we talk about some good Hollywood gossip and stuff in there too. Then Searching for Patty Hearst, a true crime novel. Now you got to listen to that carefully. You got to listen to this show carefully because there's some gems in there. You got to pay attention, though, because not everybody can come right out and start. They got real legit book deals and they know real people in real life. You can't just run out here and start screaming at the top of your lungs like you got on some of these crazy YouTubers and some of these crazy podcasters. These are real people, okay? But there's some gems in there. You got to pay attention. I'm not just doing this because I got nothing to do. Okay, I'm trying to bring you real information. If you pay attention, I'm not going to spoon feed you everything. There's going to be some stuff here. Some stuff I bring you so you know it's BS. So you know it's crap. You should be able to tell the difference. Look at that Arctic guy. Give me a break with that guy. Oh, God. All right, guys, we're out of time. Oh, let me play a nice little going away song for you. There we go. All right, guys, I really do love you, and I thank you. Thank you for your concern. If you want to know, I know people, Ed, how you feel? No, I'm feeling like crap. Okay. Just when you ask me how I'm feeling, just know I feel like, and every now and then too, I'd like to be able to vent and say, boy, I feel sick. I feel like crap without 100 people asking, what are your symptoms? I'll cure you right now. Oh, I've been watching TikTok all day. Home remedies. Take some baking soda or peroxide there and rub it through your nose. All right, guys. I love you. Good night.
Everyone, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No one cared enough must remember me, oh man. I know that you can if you try. So just open up your eyes, oh man. Look who's come to say goodbye. The sun has left the sky, oh man. The birds have flown away, and no one came to cry, oh man. Goodbye, oh man, goodbye. You wanna stay, I know you do, but it ain't no use to try, 'cause I'll be here, and I'm just like you. Goodbye, oh man, goodbye. Won't be no God to comfort you. Taught me not to believe that lie. You don't need anybody, nobody needs you. Don't cry.